Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos Dibra Maschel, v'kamafarish achnasa la'alter. Let's begin by first looking at the flowchart of the Gemara to see what part of the Gemara Tosfos will be explaining. So in our Gemara, we said that the Mishnah in Shavuos that says Yitzias HaShabbos Shtayim Shein Arba is counting two cases of Eitzah, one for the Ani and one for the Asher, and two cases of Achnasa, one for the Ani and one for the Asher. And the Gemara asked, but it says Yitzias. How could it also include Achnasa? And the Gemara answered, Tana Hachnasa, the Tana regarding Achnasa, Nami Kari La Haitzah. He also calls it Haitzah. And then we went to bring a proof from our Mishnah. Masnisin Nami Deka. Our Mishnah is also a proof, is also precise in communicating this point, that when you say Yitzias, it could also include Achnasa, because our Mishnah says Yitzias HaShabbos, v'kamafarish Achnasa la'alter, and then immediately presents a case of Achnasa. So that's the part of the Gemara that Tosfos will be focusing on, the proof that we bring from our Mishnah, that also when talking about Achnasa, the Tana calls it Yitzias. So let's begin with a general outline of Tosfos. The Gemara proved from our Mishnah that Yitzias includes Achnasa, since it says Yitzias HaShabbos, and then immediately presents a case of Achnasa. So Tosfos will ask why the Gemara doesn't prove it from an earlier part of our Mishnah, and he will present two answers. So Tosfos will ask, it seems that you could bring the proof from our Mishnah from an earlier part, and we'll give two answers to this question. Let's look at the Tosfos now in the flowchart form. So Yitzias includes Achnasa. As we see, our Mishnah says Yitzias HaShabbos and immediately presents a case of Achnasa. Asks Tosfos, why doesn't the Gemara prove it from the very fact that the Mishnah says there are 8 Yitzias, and it's only possible if we also count Achnasa. It says Yitzias HaShabbos, Shtayim Shein Arba B'fnim, Shtayim Shein Arba B'chutz. Clearly it also counts Achnasa, because it's impossible to find 8 cases of Eitzah. We should bring a proof from that part of the Mishnah instead of having to go a little further where it says Ketzad, how does this play itself out? Ha'oni Eimed B'chutz or Balabayas B'fnim, and now it presents a case of Pashat Ani Yas Yadei L'fnim V'nasan L'sech Yadei Shel Balabayas, where the Ani did the act of Achnasa. Why do we wait for that part of the Mishnah to prove that Yitzias includes Achnasa? Could prove it from a much earlier point of the Mishnah. Tosfos gives two answers. Answer number one is, we already explained earlier that we can find 8 cases of Eitzah. So the fact that the Mishnah says Yitzias HaShabbos, Shtayim Shein Arba B'fnim, Shtayim Shein Arba B'chutz, that there are 8 cases, doesn't indicate that there's also Achnasa involved here. It's only when afterwards the Mishnah goes and presents as its very first case a case of Achnasa that we see that even while speaking about Achnasa, the Tana refers to it as Eitzah. And the second answer of Tosfos is that this isn't a good enough proof. Even if it were true, let's say according to Rashi, we can't find 8 cases of Eitzah. We'll leave that out for now, but that's the reality. And according to Rashi, we can't find 8 cases of Eitzah. It's still not a good enough proof, because our question was on the Mishnah in Shavuos. Now we could just answer it from the Mishnah of Shavuos itself. Look, the Mishnah of Shavuos says there are 2 cases that are 4 that are all Chayiv. If we're looking at Chayiv cases, all we have are, if we're looking at Eitzah of the Ani and Eitzah of the Balabayas. There's only 2 cases. So obviously, if the Mishnah says there are 4 cases of Chayiv, of Eitzah, it's also including in it Achnasa. But our Gemara wanted to find a better proof. Not just it says 4 and it must include Achnasa, but a more apparent and clear proof, a more obvious proof. And therefore, it didn't bring the proof from our Mishnah from the fact that there's 8. That level of proof we already have in the Mishnah of Shavuos itself. We wanted to bring a better proof. And a better proof is, it says that there are 8, it says Yitzias HaShabbos, and then the Tana goes on and presents as his very first case, a case of Achnasa. So to summarize, we asked, why didn't we bring the proof that Achnasa is included in the term Yitzias, from the fact that our Tana said there are Yitzias HaShabbos are 8, and you can only find 8 if you include Achnasa? We give 2 answers. One answer is we can find 8 without Achnasa. The second answer is that proof is not considered any better than the proof in Shavuos. And since we're coming to our Mishnah to get a better proof, we're going to present the proof that it actually counts the case of Achnasa as its very first case.